Good morning and welcome to day 2 of the gymnastics here at the Commonwealth Games. We're in Glasgow, that's the Glasgow International Arena, connected to the velodrome, which is going to be in use all of next week, where the focus is most definitely on the gymnastics. We've got the women's team final today, slightly overcast day, a bit of drizzle as you might expect in Scotland, not to stereotype, but this is what we've got coming up for you. We've got 4 subdivisions to get through today. The real focus is going to be on those afternoon and evening slots. 3:40 we've got Wales. That's going to include Ruby Evans, the world silver medalist, and then England featuring in that evening slot with Australia and Canada too. So all to play for this evening, but plenty to get through in the day session as well. And I am delighted to be joined by Beth Tweddle. How are we feeling? What's the energy levels? What's the excitement levels today?
I think amazing. We're just starting to get the athletes coming out, and you can hear the crowd really supporting them. And as an athlete, that's what you want. When you walk out and you hear that buzz, it allows you to get used to the arena. It allows you to kind of get rid of that nervous energy, take it all in, and then take your time to get to the apparatus. But we have got such a packed schedule, 4 subdivisions, and obviously the big hitters, as we saw yesterday with the men's competition, are going to be in that final round. But Wales are also going to be really, really strong, and they are in subdivision 3, so they're going to set the bar for that last rotation.
I love it. The atmosphere yesterday was incredible, and I figure today, given it's Saturday, crowds are streaming in already. They want more. They want a competitive competition, and I feel like with Wales setting the bar in the afternoon, it's going to be up to the other teams to follow it. But do the nerves, do they find it a little bit easier given that it's a team competition? You've got everyone with you when you walk out for the first time.
Yeah, I think when you've got your team around you, day in, day out, they've been training in a preparation camp, so they're like sisters. They know how to G each other up. They know if a teammate just wants a bit of time and leave them to prepare by themselves. So, yeah, I think when you're on the floor, ultimately you go up and do your routine by yourself, but you've always got your teammates cheering you on, and then it's in your mind, like, what do my coaches tell me, what are the cues, and you have to kind of mentally prepare using that. But once you're on the apparatus, you're on your own, and with only 2 apparatus, it's not very usual during a qualification, we only have 2 apparatus running, but for this competition we've just got the 2 apparatus, and quite often, due to just how the scoring will be working, you're going to be on your own, so all eyes are going to be on you, which that can be quite nerve-wracking in itself.
Well, it counts for individual qualifications as well, but we've got international stars as well as stars from our home nations. In particular, Australia is a team that we know is going to be strong. Georgia Godwin, obviously huge amount of experience on her side, and she's been at the highest level at this stage before.
She did. She had a really successful Commonwealth Games in Birmingham. She picked up 5 medals there. Unfortunately, in the lead up to Paris 2024 Olympics, she ruptured her Achilles. So she has had a bit of time out with injury, but she is back in the team, so that's great to see. And then we've got lots of stars in that last round. Ellie Black from Canada has won 2nd in the all-around in the World Championships. She's won Commonwealth medals. She's been to Olympics. This is her 3rd Commonwealth Games, so she is a really experienced member of that team. And then Team England, Abby Martin, was kind of the surprise entry into Paris 24, just 16. She got her GCSE results after she came back from the Games.
It feels crazy that she's got a lot of experience and she's only 18.
She's so young, but like you say, she's done so many events now, and she will be looking to do well here. She's got floor. She took 3rd at the World Championships last year. She's really known for being a strong floor worker, a strong vaulter. Same as Ruby Evans with Wales, 2nd at the World Championships on floor. So it'll be a real battle. And the difficulty is they're so used to training as teammates for Great Britain, and then suddenly they've gone off into their home nations, and they're now suddenly competing against each other. So that's very different.
It's going to make it really interesting, but it's set to be a great day. Of course, there's plenty of other sport that you can watch at the Commonwealth Games. HBO Max and TNT Sports are your home for everything you need, and this is a little reminder of all the ways that you can watch.
Make TNT Sports on HBO Max your home for the Glasgow 2026 Commonwealth Games.
Would be incredible.
Stream every event exclusively live.
History is being rewritten.
While our interactive features will take your viewing experience to the next level. There's multi-view, event alerts, and key moments.
Listen to the crowd.
While the TNT Sports 360 channel takes you to the biggest moments as they unfold. TNT Sports on HBO Max, the best seat in the house.
So much to keep across, and this is what's happening at the moment. In the netball, Scotland and New Zealand was just about finished. So if you're wondering what's up next there, it's Australia up against Tonga, and then we've got the 3-on-3 basketball and the wheelchair basketball and the bowls. That has been non-stop over at that arena, and the QR code is there. Make sure you scan that. But we are in the warm-ups here at the Glasgow International Arena, and Beth has raced up to commentary, and she's going to be joined by Kat Downs.
Thank you, Laura, and good morning. Welcome back to the Glasgow International Arena, day 2 of gymnastics. We had an incredibly dramatic climax to the men's team competition yesterday, with England taking the silver medal behind Canada, Australia in bronze, and a horrific injury for young Gabriel Langton, and awaiting updates on his condition. He's said to be receiving treatment and responding well, so our thoughts and prayers with him and his family as we get the action underway today. It's got a lot to get through. There is a big, thick start list here in front of me, and we're starting off with Subdivision 1 of the women's team event. And, of course, as Laura alluded to, this works as qualification as well for the individual apparatus finals. 8 athletes going through to each apparatus final, and the all-around final will contain 18 athletes making it through to compete for gold on Sunday evening. Just a couple of apparatus in use in this morning's session, starting off with the vault. Liana Kumi Iguanes of Malta. 2 vaults for the Maltese athlete, which means that she's aiming for a place in the individual final. Just 17 years old. This is her best event, so her best hope of making it through to compete for an individual medal.
Here you can see the full twisting Yurchenko, just slightly short on the height, meaning that she needed to take a step. But seems quite happy with her start to the Commonwealth Games. Here we're just going to see it in slow motion. So uses the round off entry into the flip, and there the full twist. She just didn't quite get the pop off the top, which is what resulted in that slight step forward. And when they step out into that red triangle, that is where the deductions come in.
And you can see as well on the little triangular sign before they take the run down the runway how difficult the vault is going to be. So that had a difficulty rating of 4.2.
Yeah, so the gymnasts signal to the judges what vault is going to be done, but most of the time that vault is what you see, and then the judges say they declare a straight, but they see a different shape. They will then obviously devalue the vault depending on what they actually showed the gymnast performed.
So just waiting for the scores before a second vault.
Yeah, it's very difficult to do 2 vaults. Going to get into the vault final, obviously you have to show the 2 different vaults, and you won't see many gymnasts doing this, just because it takes a lot of time and effort to prepare those 2 different types of vault.
So if you want to get into the vault final, do you have to do 2 vaults?
Today, yes, you have to show 2 different vaults, and then you'll get an average score of the 2. all of those who are just doing either individual all-around or the team event, they will just do one.
So the first vault scores a round 12 for Liana. And here she goes with effort number 2. First gymnast in action of this day 2, and the first female athlete on the floor.
So he uses the Sukahara entry into the pipe. Just a couple of steps vault, but very well executed in the air. So she chose to use the 2 different types of vault, which will bode well going into that attempt for the vault final.
Meanwhile, we're heading over to the uneven bars. This is your expert territory, Beth.
A long time ago now.
Bronze medalist. And Taisha Humphreys of Namibia to get us started here.
So you can see using the high bar down to the low bar, coach just can step in for difficulty to make sure of the safety of the gymnast, but keeping everything flowing, which is what we need in a bar routine. And there's your dismount. Nice clean landing on that dismount.
Good neat job from Taisha. Used to compete for Spain earlier on in her career and switched allegiances to Namibia. And that is why she could compete at the Commonwealth Games. No Spanish athletes here, of course.
Here you can see the tuck back away. Gymnasts are looking for that landing. Spatial awareness is so important for gymnasts, knowing when to open out, when to land every step. The judges are going to take those deductions. So when we're watching this competition, look for the gymnasts trying to nail those landings.
And I'll ask you as well, when we see her score, where we're going to be expecting the very best bars scores to come in. Second score on the vault, though, for Liana Iguanes, 11.925. And would you say, you know, world-class vaulting comes in up above 13 and a half?
Low 14s.
Low 14s.
Yeah. It all comes down to the difficulty. So you can see here the round-off entry into the somersault at the end had a 3.6 execution difficulty nominated for that vault, and this gymnast is just choosing to do the 1 vault, so she's adding to that team score.
This is Philippa Busuttil, Malta's most experienced international athlete at 18 years old. There's the score for Taisha Humphreys, just 7.80, as we were saying. The very best on the uneven bars we'll be looking for.
They'll be around that low 14 as well. You've got a couple of superstars on the international circuit that are around a 15, but on the whole, around the high 13s, low 14s.
Back to Team Namibia and Annalene Thorburn.
So here we are, a nice short clear with the full turn. Gymnasts are looking to finish the turns towards the handstand position. A nice shot into the handstand with a half turn. Have to show 2 different types of grip, so they have a backward grip and the front grip. Unfortunately there, the Jaeger somersault just released slightly too early. Therefore the gymnast obviously wasn't able to re-grasp the bar. Once a gymnast comes off, once they stand up onto their feet, they have 30 seconds to...
That's got to knock the wind out of you, landing like that.
Yeah, you don't tend to notice it. I think you obviously train it in the training halls. So
you've got
here,
the adrenaline of competition.
you have, there's the pack salto, just came in slightly close, hence doing the back hip circle out of it. Gymnasts now getting towards the end of the routine. They'll be building up towards the dismount. You can just see she's a little bit tired. There's the shoot front with a tuck front somersault to finish the routine. A real shame because she's got the difficulty there with the Jaeger somersault, but just slightly released early.
the younger of the Thornburn sisters. 11.65 for Philippa Busuttil for Malta.
Let's go.
Back to the Maltese team. They have a full contingent. Sophie St John, rising junior, just 15 years old.
Got experience competing at the Junior World Championships there. Just Yurchenko with a lovely straight off the end. Got some potential in the future now that she's got that preparation vault of the straight. Yurchenko can twist that in the future, and I'm sure we'll be looking to do that. Here we can just see a lot of gymnasts you'll see using this entry, the round off flip into the straight somersault. You can just see how she got the height to be able to keep that straight shape, and everything was directly down the line, so there'll be no deductions for going off to the side, stepping out.
And Malta have a team of 3, which means they can contest in the team event, 3 scores counting. So all 3 athletes will have to compete on every single apparatus. It's going to be a busy morning for the Maltese team.
Yes, so you can have 5 in your team. You can put 4 up on an apparatus, and then only 3 scores count. But as you say, with that team, they've only got 3 gymnasts here, so all 3 will have to do all apparatus and all scores count, which that's a pressurised situation for them.
There's a lot going on there, isn't there? Heading back to the uneven bars, and Joni Thorburn, the older of the 2 Thornburn sisters. We just saw her little sister Annaline. And I think Annaline is just standing close by to watch her sister take this on.
So you can see the judges there either debating the difficulty. So when you're looking at a score, it's made up of two parts. You've got the difficulty, which is all of the elements you see. Gymnasts have to perform 8 elements, and that has to include the dismount. And then the execution starts at 10 and works you get the deductions taken off, and then you add the difficulty and the execution score to get that final score.
And that clears up how many numbers there are in those boxes.
Yes,
so thank you, Beth, for that.
It can be a bit confusing when you first see it.
So difficulty and execution added together.
Yes.
Easy as that.
And as we get throughout the day towards the subdivision 3 and 4 this afternoon, you'll see that difficulty score start to rise.
I think there's a technical issue because we've got what looks like a kind of IT supervisor in the background there on the judging panel. So got a little bit of a pause in proceedings here, and this isn't going to help the nerves, is it?
No, and when you're ready and raring to go, obviously you have to prepare the bars. So the gymnasts, from when the gymnast before them finishes, you have time to go up. Every gymnast likes the bars slightly different, whether it's the tension, whether it's the chalk, where the mat's placed. So the gymnast prior to that will have taken time to prepare it. We're just seeing the first gymnast who was up, Taisha. We already have her scoring. She scored the 7.8. It is Annaline. Oh, it looks like we are nearly ready to go. Oh, maybe not.
Well, this is just, you know, one of the vagaries of live sport. We have the odd hitch every now and then. I imagine someone somewhere is scrabbling around underneath desks and unplugging things and plugging them back in again.
I think that was the officials just giving the coach a bit of a heads up. Oh, here we are. We've got a score coming through.
And that is for Annaline Thorburn, 7.85, because she had that heavy fall landing on her front. Now it's over to her sister, Joni. Just a couple of years older. Making her Commonwealth Games debut. Sister Annaline just standing close by. Here
are the upstart handstand into the pack salto, just slight loss of leg form, but continuing through the routine. There's the short clear, using the...
Oh, this looks like a battle, doesn't it?
Sometimes you have these routines and they will have done it in the gym and you have to continue. There's the half turn into the straight front dismount.
And pulled herself through that one, Joni Thorburn of Namibia. Just stepping up into international competition. She was part of the Namibian team at the 2026 African Championships.
They have started to compete out on the World Cup circuit as well, which is always great experience, getting out there, seeing how the you're training alongside some of the best gymnasts in the world, seeing what preparation do they do, how do they... I remember everywhere we went, my coach would have a little notebook. Oh, I like that conditioning exercise. And you're picking up tips and hints the whole way through. So here we are. I can see the upstart handstand just slightly over the top. So the gymnast had to regain control throughout this routine. It was definitely a fighting routine from beginning to end. But a lovely short clear there. Then the mo up to the high bar, just took the extra time before she did the handstand. There's the forward grip into the straight front somersault.
And Namibia also with a full team complement here, so they will be looking to post a team score as well for the first time at a Commonwealth Games. That's a good T-shirt, isn't it? I think you're probably one of the leading members of the Strong Girls Club, Beth.
Not anymore. So you'll see Namibia are going to put up the 4 scores, so they will be able to drop their lowest counting score.
Well, you may as well give your athletes a chance. You come all the way to Glasgow, get them up there and give them a taste of international competition. Let's see the scores for Joni Thorburn. 6.25 for Namibia. It's a low-scoring routine, but just starting out on her international career. And they're going to finish off with Shareshni Andrew, who's also just beginning to compete internationally.
Nice upstart handstand, holds that handstand. Just did the half turn, didn't quite have enough time to finish the full turn, but will continue with the routine. There's the upstart handstand. Change of bars. Long giant into the back away. Nice landing.
Keeping it as simple as possible, Shareshni. And nice encouragement from the coach there. She's shepherding this team of inexperienced Namibian athletes to their first Commonwealth Games. And that's what it's all about, isn't it? A high five from your teammates.
Yeah, I mean, these gymnasts, they'll be training day in, day out together. So they know all of the hours preparation that they've put in to be here in this moment.
That means we can get going with some vaulting again. That is Namibia's job done on the uneven bars. We've got another couple of athletes to come on that apparatus. Sienna Santiago and Georgia Haralampus from Cyprus.
So yeah, they're doing a split warm-up due to the amount of gymnasts you've got on each apparatus, just to ensure that they've got enough time to prepare, and obviously ensuring the safety of the athletes. They each get on bolts. If they're doing 1 bolt, they will get 2 warm-up bolts. If they're doing 2 bolts to try and get into the final, they'll get 3 warm-up bolts. And over on bars, you get a set time to just prepare the bar and then have your 1 touch.
6.85 for Sureshni Andrew. And there's some young England fans. They've got a long day ahead before they see their favourite athletes compete in the 4th of the 4 subdivisions later on this evening. I can't remember what time that starts. Can you, Beth? It's on quite a bit later on this evening.
It is.
Let's see how Sienna Santiago gets on from the Cayman Islands.
Okay, just see, that was a lovely half turn. Shoot half turn.
This is the warm-up, of course,
This is, yes, so this is just the warm-up, so don't worry if they're coming off or coaches are stepping in. It's just your time to... They will have warmed up in the back gym. They probably would have had about 20 minutes, 15 minutes on that apparatus out in the back gym. And then this is just their moment, because every gym that you go to, the bars feel slightly different, the lighting's a little bit different. So it just gives you that time to adjust to everything. So on the bars, every gymnast likes a different tension. So you'll see in probably, especially with Team England, they have a tension gauge. So they'll put it on the wires that'll be able to tell you exactly how tight the bars are. And then the coaches will adjust the bars depending on what that gymnast likes. Some like them a lot bouncier, some like them a lot firmer. So yeah, it can be a lot of toing and froing with the tension. I used to like them quite solid.
Well, you've been explaining that so beautifully, Beth. I found the start time for Subdivision 4 is at 6:20 this evening. That is the planned time. So that is when the top 4 teams in the Commonwealth will come out. So that's South Africa, England, Australia and Canada. And they were the top 4
from Birmingham.
From Birmingham 2022. South Africa just missing out on that medal in 4th place. England on top ahead of Canada and Australia with the bronze medal. So this is where it is for real. And young Sienna Santiago just getting ready. 26 years old. From the Cayman Islands, who have had representation at the Olympics before in Regan Rutty. First ever Olympic gymnast in Tokyo 2020 for the Cayman Islands. Big inspiration for Sienna.
So here she is. There's the upstart handstand straight down into shoot down. Just see the other coach pulling the springboard out for safety. There's a nice toe on and off. Changing direction, ready to complete the rest of her routine. There's the Mo. Building up into the double tuck dismount, just slightly over rotating.
Just a shame on that landing, isn't it? It was a really neat job, the rest of the routine. Kept the momentum going.
She did, and got lovely lines. Nice shoot half that she did at the beginning of the routine. Is the changer bar you've got there. And building up to the dismount, so gymnasts will quite often wind the giants up to give them a bit of rotation. And there you can just see into the double tuck somersault, and just slightly over rotated, which unfortunately results in the 1 mark deduction.
I had an extra decade onto her age there. My terrible maths. She's actually only 16, not 26. So. Over we go to New Zealand, and Sienna Shields from Auckland, 18 years old, Commonwealth Games debut, the youngest member of the entire New Zealand team across all sports at these games. Keen snowboarder in the winter. It's risky, isn't it, for a gymnast?
Yeah. Here we are, the handspring with us. Half-turning somersault. Fantastic bolt. Great flight off the top. Got the support in the crowd. Here we are, see the powerful run-up. There's the handspring. Will have probably nominated for the straight front half-turn, but a very powerful bolt.
And New Zealand, with just a couple of athletes competing on the vault, they've got some more athletes rotating their team throughout the other apparatus, so they cannot post a team score.
Unfortunately not. The first gymnast doesn't seem to be performing in the vault.
They do have 3 gymnasts here, so they could have fielded a team.
Yes.
Team New Zealand in the stands. And a second vault coming up for Sienna, and she aims for a place in the vault final. Vault final taking place over the last couple of days of competition on Monday.
So we split our apparatus finals, so there'll be two women's vault and bars on Monday, and then beam and floor on Tuesday, and then we'll have the first 3 men's, so floor, pommel rings on Monday, and then vault, P-bar, high bar
There's
on
a
Tuesday.
lot going on in
There is a lot,
gymnastics, isn't
and we've got the all-around finals tomorrow. So yeah, and for those top gymnasts, it's going to be a long 5 days because they literally compete back to back.
And 18 athletes going through from the women's as well as the men's into the all-around. So we'll be keeping an eye on the names at the top of the list as we go through today's action. Second vault for Sienna Shields.
Uses the Sukahara entry with the full turn. 2 really great vaults there, so that will put her at the top of the rankings, definitely so far. Let's see how her teammate goes. She might end up being bumped down by her own teammate, but definitely a great start to her competition.
9.1 for 16-year-old Sienna Santiago. Over to Georgia Haralampus of Cyprus.
There's a lovely big release and catch element, the catcher. Nice clean lines. There's the pack. Building the difficulty up. Has already done 2 big elements. Uses the changer bar again. Building up. There's the half turn into the forward grass that every gymnast needs as a special requirement for the apparatus. There's the full turn just slightly after the handstand, but a great routine. Definitely will be top of the rankings on bars so far. Very cleanly executed.
The lone female representative for Cyprus in the gymnastics at this Commonwealth Games. The men's team competed yesterday. They were hoping for another medal after winning that bronze in Birmingham 4 years ago, but they could not get the job done, finishing 5th behind Scotland.
Here you can just see by the time she puts her hand on, and she's just slightly late past the handstand, so she'll get the value of the skill credited, but there will be a deduction for it.
And for Sienna Shields on the vault, 12.625. 2 vaults complete, and she'll be a name to watch for qualification for the women's vault final. Courtney McGregor, 27 years old, returning after 5 years away from gymnastics. She ruptured her Achilles in 2020 and decided that was time to call it a day, but here she is again.
Using the 1.5 Yuchenko, very cleanly executed. Very difficult vault to land because it's a blind landing, so the gymnast will have done this lots of times in the gym, looking for that landing. Here you see the popular round off flick entry into the 1.5 and just takes that slight hop, but definitely the highest difficulty of vault we've seen and very well executed.
She's now a 5th-year medical student. Back home in New Zealand, she works 40 hours or more a week on the wards, fits in 22 hours of training a week as well. And she was supposed to be part of the New Zealand team in Glasgow 12 years ago in 2014, but she withdrew with a knee injury. couldn't compete at the Games back then, but here she is 12 years later with a shot at redemption in the same city. It's a great story, isn't it?
It is, and we've got quite a number of gymnasts actually in the women's fields this Commonwealth that have taken time out of the sport and then returned to the sport, which is great. To see there, you can see the Olympic rings tattoo. She attended the Rio Games in 2016 and has also been to a number of world championships, so a very experienced gymnast.
She was just 17, New Zealand's youngest team member at the Rio Olympics. She was 13th in vault at the Games. 12.95, showing some of that old magic, Courtney McGregor. So she returned to training in April of last year, won the national title in September to book her spot on this Commonwealth team.
And you see the Yurchenko with the half-turn entry and then the half-turning somersault off. So a very, very good clean vault. She'll be very happy with that.
Making her mark on this Commonwealth Games. Finally, Dr. McGregor from New Zealand.
Here you see there's the Yurchenko, so uses the half turn onto the vault and then the half turn with the somersault off.
Look at that little chap in the background.
She has a good spatial awareness. She knows exactly where this landing is, so has minimal deductions on the landing. And quite often with this vault, because you're doing the half turn on, you do get that deviation away from that centre line, but as you can see here, a very cleanly executed vault, bang down the middle.
Could not be closer to that red line, could it, for Courtney McGregor? And as the lights go down, then they move to the next apparatus. New Zealand heading to the uneven bars. We will await the scores for Courtney McGregor, hoping for a place in the vault final. Back in Glasgow after she missed those 2014 games with a knee injury. So that's Achilles, that's knee, already on her list of injuries. Every athlete competing today and yesterday in the men's team, they've all got a long list of bumps and bruises. 11.2 for Georgia Haralampus of Georgia. No team for Georgia in the women's event. She's here all on her own.
They have really changed the way that gymnastics works these days. It's more of a showcase now. It's great. The gymnasts, they come out, they do all the showcase of them walking out. But when I was competing, there was none of this dipping the lights, bringing it back up. So it's for the audience, it's amazing to watch. And I guess also makes the gymnast feel really special, doing that moment of walking out.
Do you wish you'd had that?
Yeah, I mean, it's
a chance
I think it's great
to wear the sequins. There's always sequins in women's gymnastics. Get them glittering under the lights.
It's I just think it's great for our sport. Anything we can do to promote our sport and showcase it is good. It's
an opportunity, isn't it, for athletes to show a bit of personality as well when they come out, and the audience can see their faces and see what it means to them, that moment where they step through the doors. It tells you so much about how they're feeling about being at the event.
Yeah, I think it would have been my worst nightmare. We started to introduce it just towards the end of my career in the domestic comps. I used to hate doing it.
Imagine the shout, though, you stepping out here in the Glasgow International Arena. Beth Tweddle announced to the audience. We'll hear the roars for the likes of Ruby Evans later on for Wales, Christelle Lake for Scotland.
So the gymnasts are moving around in Olympic order. The women's Olympic order is vault, then to bars, beam, floor. So you'll see each of the gymnasts move around those rotations. I think for most gymnasts, starting on beam is usually one of the worst. But no one's actually got that draw here.
That is a great shot, isn't it, along the beam? Just a reminder of quite how narrow it is. And I saw you taking Laura Robson up there.
Yes.
For a balance along the beam a little earlier on today, and you looked like a gazelle, a mountain goat leaping along there. Laura, however,
10 centimetres wide. It is, I don't think people truly appreciate just how narrow this beam is, and then the gymnasts, what they're doing, these somersaults, and it only takes the slightest just shoulder jit and that can be you off, and then add the nerves, add the adrenaline to that, add the fact that we've only got 2 apparatus working, so the whole arena potentially is just watching you. So yeah, there's a lot to contend with out there for these gymnasts.
It's not easy even to sit on that, is it?
Do you know, you can't even replicate the environment. You try as hard as you can with your coaches in the gym, doing control competitions, but there's nothing that can replicate being in an arena like this with all eyes on you performing.
And how high off the ground is it? We know it's 10 centimetres wide.
Do you know what? You've just tested me there. I'll come back to you on that one.
Because it's not a small distance to fall if you do get it wrong. And the height of it almost accentuates the narrowness of it. Lots of young fans in the crowd.
1.25 metres.
4 feet
from the floor.
That is, I mean, it is one of those things that you watch and you just think, how on earth are they doing that? He's having a great day out of the gymnastics. Got his Team Scotland shirt on.
Love that. Just see the final preparations of the gymnasts going on. Each apparatus get either a one touch, a timed, or every apparatus has slightly different, so you might see some of the apparatus take longer than the others.
So beam
30 seconds.
30 seconds.
And then it's your moment.
And the routine can take a minute and a half.
Yes.
So that's actually quite long in gymnastics, isn't it?
Yes.
So the beam can take a while, but it is definitely worth watching, and we are nearly ready to go. Team Namibia have reached the beam. Looks like it's going to be Joni Thorburn to start us off. Of the 2 teams competing, it's advantage Malta at the moment.
So here we are, the front somersault on, just unfortunately comes off, but a very difficult mount. Not all gymnasts will choose to use a big difficulty. There's the 2 jumps that gymnasts have to show connected, leading up to another acrobatic skill. There's the free cartwheel. Gymnasts are marked on their artistry as well as the skills that they're performing. There's the front somersault. Unfortunately, wasn't quite able to execute it this time, but has got big difficulty in this routine. There's the double jump with the half turn. Very difficult to land when you're going from side to side because there's very little margin for error.
Say any of these elements are difficult to land.
There is that with the beam. Is the full.
And how many times did Simone Biles go round when
3.
she did that? 3 times.
A lot of the gymnasts 2 or 3, and that obviously gives you the big difficulty. But she is using some difficult elements in this routine. The front somersault on, the front somersault on the actual beam, and now she's building up to her acro series. The flip into the tuck back somersault. Has to use an acrobatic skill, and you can just hear the timer. So she's gone over time, so there'll be a time penalty for this routine. And there's the full twist off. Really unfortunate because the actual skills she's using were very well executed, just that just shows in competition, if you're slightly off, there's no going back.
I imagine that is a routine that she has done better in the gym, and she'll be feeling frustrated at that. Well, Joni Thorburn of Namibia over to Sophie St John, this young 15-year-old from Malta who showed us quite how good she is on the vault.
There's the short clear half into the pike Jaeger, very cleanly executed. There's the toe on and off, building up to the shoot half. Just slight loss of leg form there, but has a nice line, the short clear with the full turn. Keeping this routine moving. Definitely got, there's the shoot front with the pike front. Unfortunately, just slightly lacking in the rotation, but again, it's a difficult landing because it's a blind landing for the gymnast.
She's got great potential, hasn't she?
She has. I mean, you can see from the lines when she's swinging. They've obviously been working very much on the basics of the gymnastics, which really shows through there. And then when you start to add in the big skills, it shows through. So a shame for that fall at the end, because actually the rest of the routine was well executed. See there, she just opened out to land, but just slightly was sat back, so couldn't quite rescue it.
She can't believe it either.
I was going to say, you see the gymnast reactions. You can see there the coach just saying he didn't quite sit up enough at the end. That's what caused the rotation. I think she's saying, but I didn't want to go too far because I didn't want to over-rotate.
Snacks are out in the Glasgow International Arena. I hope they've got a big backpack full of them to keep them going. It's going to be a very long day. Joni Thorburn looking mightily disappointed with her performance on the beam. We're awaiting that score. And then Sophie St John on the uneven bars as well. Scores coming in for her momentarily. For Joni, 6.9.
Considering the falls, that would have been a fantastic score. So she will be disappointed, of course she would, but it just shows what she could have scored there because she had the difficulty.
Sureshni Andrew.
So starts the routine well, showing the artistry that the judges will be looking for, building up to the acrobatic skill. There's the free cartwheel, manages to recover just with that slight wobble. There's the two jumps connected, showing the sideways movement. Then we're going to see the side to side. Just shows that you've got only 10 centimetres wide and you're trying to do a jump and stay. You've got to keep your body weight over the beam entirely for that skill. There's the tuck back somersault.
And standing sideways as she was then, Beth, is that almost harder because, you know, your feet aren't 10 centimetres
exactly,
wide?
yeah. So when you're along the beam, you can have almost one foot slightly in front of the other. But she's recovered well. She's continuing with the routine, building up to the next skill. There's the acrobatic skill. Unfortunately, just they've got the difficulty in their routines, which is fantastic to see. There's the flick. Has to show the full spin. Most gymnasts dread doing that spin. And then building up to the dismount. Unfortunately, just gone on the time there. There's the full twist. Fantastic routine. Although it had the falls, she's got the difficulty in there to build on for the future, just the same as her teammates. So definitely the potential for the future.
And it's tricky when you fall, isn't it? Because that takes time from your routine. If you've got a routine that is timed to fill the full 90 seconds, so you're getting the most out of the points on offer, and then you have a couple of falls, you've got to get yourself back on it. You're going to go over.
So the time stops when you come off the beam.
Okay.
You then have 10 seconds to get back on.
Okay.
So not long at all to kind of compose yourself, get back on, and then the timer will restart.
I see. So you are given a bit of grace.
It obviously messes up with the flow of the routine.
So Philippa Busuttil, Malta's most experienced gymnast. She's been competing at a senior level internationally since 2021.
There's a great start to the routine. The shap into the pack, so connecting the difficulty. That's what the judges are looking for. If you can connect the big skills, that's where the difficulty score starts to increase. There's the giant into a ginger. What a shame, because that was a really nice ginger. The good thing is the gymnast had a temporary hold of the bar, so she will get the credit for the skill, so she'll get the value of the element. She'll just take the mark for the deduction. Just see, it was fingertips.
That makes my fingertips curl back.
The gymnasts have dowels on their handguards, which if you get that over the top of the bar, that definitely helps to keep hold. Gymnast starts the routine again. Nice upstart handstand into the short clear half, shows the forward grip, which the judges will be looking for. There's the full turn. So she's building up the difficulty. And there's the straight back dismount. So again, has got the difficulty there. Give it a bit more time, and the execution will come with that. So a great routine.
Shareshni Andrew with 6.8 for her effort on the beam, and that is just a tenth of a point lower than Joni Thorburn. So an idea there, although Joni had more falls, she had a higher level of difficulty in there, so she could pick up slightly more points. Here's Anna Lee Thorburn, the younger sister.
Round off flip mount, very difficult entry into the Corbett flick. So a great start to that routine. Showing off the artistry. She is the only gymnast going in the arena, so it can all eyes are on her. There's the 1.5 turn. Rescued
her
that.
facial expression there.
And is building up. This is the acrobatic skill. Just taking her time. There will be a slight deduction from the judges for this. There's the flip into the tuck back. Unfortunately, just slightly offline. But she will get the value of being able to do the acrobatic combination. There's the change leg into the second jump. She will have to keep an eye on the time, having taken that big pause before the acrobatic skill. Here we are, into the side somersault. Nicely executed. Here's the sideways jump. Nice straddle half turn. Unfortunately, just the chest slightly forwards. We'll continue with the rest of the routine. Has taken the time penalty now, so just needs to concentrate on the elements rather than the time. And here we are, the pike front somersault to finish the routine. Again, has got the difficulty in the routine, so just unfortunate with those falls. Someone looks happy.
For Philippa Busuttil, 10.25 on the uneven bars. Just let that slip through her fingers. So close to a really great routine. Diana Kumi Iguanes.
There we are, changes straight away to get that forward grip. There's the forward giant. Into the Jaeger, lovely high Jaeger. Unfortunately, just had to take the extra swing there, the shoot into the half turn. Nice short clear.
Oh. Couldn't get the travel.
Yeah, didn't quite sit up fast enough, but sometimes as a gymnast you know you're too far back, and if you do go forwards you've not got the travel to be able to get the bars. So probably made more of a conscious decision not to over-rotate and completely miss the bar. Has 30 seconds to get back onto the bar, so she can go back to the chalk bucket, re-chalk up, and take the time to get back on.
And that kind of serves as a bit of a reset, doesn't it? Like a tennis player going to the towel box.
Yeah, so there you are. You saw she completed it cleanly there, building up to the giant, into the back away. Such a shame because the beginning of that routine, the forward giant into the Jaeger was very well executed. So I'm sure she'll be disappointed with that. But as we saw when she got back on, she can absolutely do that skill.
Young team from Malta. Philippa Busuttil at 18 is the eldest. Then we've got Liana Kumi Iguanes at 17 and Sophie St John at 15. And Lee Thornburn 7.9. And that's the highest score of the Namibian trio so far. Here is Taisha Humphreys making it a quartet on the beam for the Namibians.
That's a nice way to mount the beam. Very artistic. Building up to the acro skills. Here we are, a side somersault. Recovers that. Just a slight wobble. But a difficulty value will start to build using skills like that. Here we are, the change leg into the split jump. Shows the 180-degree split. As she flips. A lot of gymnasts are opting to do this spin. There's the 1.5 turn. Nicely executed, incorporates it well into the routine. Keeps the flow. Part of beam is about keeping that momentum, keeping the flow going. There's the free cartwheel. And a full turn off the end. You can see with that routine it flows a lot more. So she wasn't out of time, she didn't take that time penalty. So a very well executed routine and had the difficulty in there throughout.
Best of the four for Namibia, Taisha Humphreys.
There's the well executed full twist forwards off the end for the dismount. I used to hate the dismount. That was the hardest part.
Why is that?
I think you've just got so close, you're nearly there, and just, yeah, you've got that final test. I wasn't a fan of the dismount. I wasn't a fan of beam in general, to be honest.
I was going to say, you've done all the hard stuff, surely, haven't you? You don't have to land your dismount on a 10-centimetre wide plank.
Yeah, but no, I just didn't like the dismount. Oh, there's some New Zealand support team. Here we are going to see some of the replays. She managed to recover that well, the free cartwheel.
And I wanted to ask you about that spin that you said a lot of the athletes are opting to do now, that kind of Simone Biles spin that you see. I mean, when I see that, I just picture Simone Biles on the beam going around 3 times in that kind of half crouch position.
Yes.
Do athletes opt to do that rather than a standing spin because your centre of gravity is a bit lower, the balance is easier?
It's depending on what spin you choose to use, it has quite a high difficulty attached to it. So if you can do it, you get the reward for it. I could never do it. Like, I found it really, really tough. So, but yeah, more and more we are seeing the gymnasts executing on that just because it has a high difficulty attached to it. So if you can get it into your routine, not only are you fulfilling a special requirement that you have to do a spin, you're also getting a credit for it. Whereas for me, I did a full spin, I got the special requirement, but I got no value for doing it, but potentially I'm getting deduction for doing it as well. So yeah,
it's a big stress, but it's not earning you anything.
Exactly, yeah. And for gymnastics, I heard you talking about it with Kristin yesterday. It's a constant battle of difficulty versus execution. How far do you push that difficulty boundary to be able to get the high difficulty, but at the same time you've still got to keep the execution high.
And when you get to the very top of gymnastics, those margins are so fine.
A medal can be 0.05 or 0.1, so yeah, you are literally looking for every tenth.
Georgia Harampoulos of Cyprus then looking for every 10th on the beam.
She started well over on the bars, so there's the spin that we have just been discussing. I think we'll see a lot of that spin throughout the day, on floor and on beam. There's the free cartwheel, has high difficulty attached to it, building up to the acrobatic series. Just see when the gymnasts are building up the slight hesitation before it. There's the flip layout somersault. Unfortunately, it was just slightly off, but we'll get back up and continue with the routine. The judges are looking for that continuous movement. They don't want to see the hesitation. So each time the gymnasts are hesitating, that can result in the artistry score being affected. You can see putting those jumps and leaps in, it's very much of looking for a combination throughout the beam routine. There's the split jump with the half turn. You can see everything stayed exactly in line with the beam. Just got 10 seconds to get off. There's the round off into the full twist. A great routine. What a shame about that flip layout, and I'm sure she will have done that hundreds of times in the gym where it went right, but she seems happy.
Yeah, she's done a very competent job so far, hasn't she?
She has.
And enjoying herself here in Glasgow as well, Georgia Harampoulos.
This is the gymnast from New Zealand that we didn't see vault, so we've only actually got the 2 New Zealand gymnasts on bars. So one of them is Sienna, although she vaulted, she's chosen not to perform on bars.
So this is our first sighting of 19-year-old June McDonald, the Christchurcher. 3rd in the all-around at the Oceania Championships, heading into Glasgow. So she's bringing some good form into these games.
Short clear with the full turn, very well executed. Lovely lines. Here's the shot. Building up the combination straight into the shoot down, straight into the full turning toe on. That is where the gymnasts are now starting to build that difficulty. Every skill is counting towards that difficulty. There's the short clear hard turn into the Jaeger. Very well executed. And then looking to build up to the dismount. There's the straight back. What a fantastic routine. Really well executed, but also had the difficulty connecting 3 skills in a row, and also having the release and catch elements in there as well.
wonder
She'll
if
be
we
pleased.
just saw that picture of her mum. That's her mum in the crowd. She works part-time at her mother's Montessori school when she's not training. Does Jun, and a year of firsts for this 19-year-old. First World Cup final, first World Championships, and now first Commonwealth Games. 10.2 for Georgia Haralampus of Cyprus. And now our 16-year-old Caymanian.
Let's see. Had some great potential on bars. Let's see what she can produce here on the beam. There's the full turn. Looks for the end of the beam. Keeping that flow straight into the next acrobatic skill, the nice flick layout. Change leg into the splits and the double jump, so gets the two jumps connected. Might be slight deductions here and there. Nice tuck back, great height, chest up when she was landing. I'm enjoying watching this gymnast. Free cartwheel.
Oh, that's a shame.
Just slightly off to the side.
It was going really well.
Keeping the composure. Always the hardest part, getting back up when you've had a fall. Trying not to let it continue. Builds up to the dismount, the round off into the 1.5 twist. A nice routine. Just a shame about that fall, but we'll see that score probably be one of the higher scores that we've seen today.
Yeah, really well done for young Sienna Santiago. Over to Jun McDonald, score of 12.45 on the uneven bars, and that sees her topping the standings for individual qualification at the moment. Long way to go, of course, today's qualifying events. Courtney McGregor on the comeback, and now on the uneven bars.
Chooses not to have a coach stood in. There are the full turns, so gets that special requirement in early. There's the shap straight into the shoot down, so the combination. Good swing. There's the forward grip into the nice high Jaeger. You can see as she's coming to catch, she's above the bar. And then building up to the dismount, the double tuck and a great landing. She'll be really pleased with that routine. I think the relief just said it all on that.
She's finding the old magic, isn't she, Courtney McGregor, after 5 years away from gymnastics, finally at the Commonwealth Games, having missed out on Glasgow 2014 with a knee injury. So that could be a couple of Kiwis vying for a position in the uneven bars final.
And it looks like Courtney, I think, is going to be looking for the all-around final as well. Yes, she is going to be competing on all four. So this bar score and her vault score will definitely help towards that individual. Just see, she's way above the bar before she comes into comes into catch. So a great routine and a nice double tuck there. The relief in her face when she landed that. Gymnasts making their way to their third apparatus, so they're halfway through their competition now. I am intrigued to wonder how does it affect them with the lights going down, lights coming up.
I'd love it, I think.
Yeah.
Strut around the arena. Bit of a dance between apparatus.
Yeah, we've got a DJ here in the arena.
She's doing a great job, actually, that
She's
DJ.
put some great tunes on.
She's here hours before anyone's even in here playing the tunes. Siena Santiago with a 9.9, just shy of the double figures for the Cayman athlete. That was on the beam, just the one fall for the 16-year-old. The Cayman Islands just off the east coast of Florida. And Courtney McGregor's 11.7 on the uneven bars. What do you make of that score?
Yeah, I mean, you can see the difficulty is slightly down, so that's why the scores are being held around that 11-12 mark. And you'll start to see that difficulty increase throughout the day, and that's what brings the scores up.
So keep an eye on Jun McDonald and Courtney McGregor with good performances on the uneven bars for New Zealand. Can they hang around and claim one of the top 8 spots that will see them through to the individual final on, I think, Monday?
Monday. Yeah.
There's a lot going on, and a lot of different events to keep an eye on. And there is the band. Doesn't that look like some kind of torture instrument? The way that it's lit up there. Yeah. It looks very foreboding, doesn't it, the balance beam? You can see in the aerial shot just how narrow that is and how exposed and vulnerable you are up there.
You are.
Having flashbacks, Beth.
Yeah.
So into rotation 3 of 4, we're going to see our first athletes tackling the floor. Namibia and the athlete Siena Santiago from Cayman and Georgia Haralampus of Cyprus. Meanwhile, Malta and New Zealand will be on the beam.
First opportunity to see the gymnasts on the floor. And if you were tuning in last night, you will have seen the men's do the floor. The women today will use music. So each individual athlete will get to choose their own music, probably in conjunction with their coaches, and then will have had it choreographed and then have to input the tumbling passes and the jumps and the leaps in there as well. So just see all of the gymnasts getting their last little bit of preparation in.
And how long is a floor routine?
1 minute 30. So the stamina element of it is difficult. When you get to that final tumbling pass and you've got to still have it in you, especially for the later gymnasts, you'll be seeing double somersaults at the end. It takes a lot of time and effort and preparation to build up that stamina to be able to complete a floor routine.
You can see some big tricks being warmed up on the beam as well for Malta, so that could be exciting to watch once the competition gets started and this warm-up is over. Let's have a quick look at the team standings at the moment. Malta well out in front of the 2 teams really that are contesting here. There is a team score in for New Zealand, but they haven't had 3 athletes competing on every apparatus so far, so that team score is irrelevant really. But Namibia have had a full team competing, all 4 of them athletes on every apparatus. They've got a combined score of 47.15 so far. And Malta, all 3 athletes doing the business for them, 65.55. So warm-up done for Team Namibia on the floor, and Anna-Leen Thorburn ready to go. Strongest scorer of the group in the build-up to these games.
The gymnasts just waiting for their you can see the scoreboard in the background. It says stop at the minute. As soon as that turns green, that is the gymnast signal. There we are. Opportunity. It's always nerve-wracking. Is your right music going to come on? There's the spin. double spin. Nicely executed. Showing this first part of the routine off very well. Here's the first tumbling pass, round off flick into the full twist. Very little deduction. Has clearly spent a lot of time on the artistry of this routine. There's the combination of the leap series. Building up to the next acrobatics. There's the forward tumbling. Like to see a mixture of backwards and forwards. Another spin element. Very nicely, yeah. Great artistry. Has clearly spent a lot of time in the gym.
It's funny, isn't it? Because you can almost see which apparatus each gymnast is most comfortable on and feels more at home on. I was really enjoying watching this young woman warming up on the beam earlier. I get the impression that this could be a strength of her gymnastics. Sophie St John, just 15 years old.
Nice mount onto the beam, gets the routine going. Looking for the gymnast to keep that momentum. Very well presented. Nice free walkover. Into the free cartwheel, straight into the connection of the tuck jump half turn. You can always see when the gymnasts are building up to the combination flick flick into the layout.
Oh, how about that?
What a lovely connection. Nice. Two leaps connected together. The full spin that we keep talking about.
Oh, no.
That's where you see just how narrow that beam is. It only takes 1 foot just to be slightly down the side, but regains the composure, straight back up. There's the first beep to show she's got 10 seconds to do her dismount. And there's the full turn. What a shame, because I actually really enjoyed that routine. A very well executed, high difficulty.
That combination.
Yeah.
Over and over and over. Spectacular stuff, isn't it? The score for Annelien Thorburn, 10.5 on the floor. And that is her highest score of the day by some margin. And here's big sister Joni.
Go the front into the front full, gets the forward turn in, just stays inside the floor there. If the gymnasts go outside that white, they will incur a deduction, so manages to hold it in. There's the beautiful leaps, keeping that chest up. Tumbling. What's she going to do? There's the round-off flip with the straight somersault. Not giving anything away on the landings. clearly spent a lot of time in the gym on their artistry, as well as doing all of the tumbling and leaps, knowing how important that part of their score will be as well. Builds up to the final tumble. There's the 1.5 twist. A great routine performed there. Has all of the elements that is required, but also had the execution to go alongside it.
I feel like Joni Thorburn is feeling a bit of the stress of the Commonwealth Games at the moment. She's quick to exit the floor. But a family affair for Namibia with the two sisters in there. Their mum Petra is the head coach as well. So 3 Thorburns booking tickets to this Commonwealth Games for Namibia.
There you can see the landings. No movement whatsoever, so no deductions. There we are. I can see
That's better.
Yeah, she's enjoying it.
There's their mum with a hug.
There's a lot of time to fill for each of these gymnasts. In between waiting for your score, then you've got another, because it is the split warm-up, you've got a whole nother kind of warm-up and group of gymnasts to go. So there's quite a bit of time in between each routine for these gymnasts.
Sophie St John 11.65 on the beam, and her teammate just waiting to get up there as well, Philippa Busuttil. This is her strongest element, most consistent on the beam.
There's a beautiful entry onto the beam. That is where you start to build up the difficulty. The connection value comes in, the difficulty, the double spin. A great start to this routine, and high difficulty as well. So she's combining not only the difficulty but also the artistry, the execution. I like that originality coming into this routine. The backward roll to handstand into the change leg split heart. Keep the skills moving. There's the free walkover. Every time the gymnasts connect 3 skills together, that they're building the connection again. So this routine, when we see the difficulty come up, you'll see that the difficulty is a lot higher. There's the free cartwheel, cleanly through that. Builds up to the final test. The round off into the double twist.
Oh yeah.
What a great routine.
Outstanding.
Absolutely love that.
Outstanding stuff from Philippa Busuttil of Malta. That is the highest quality beam work that we've seen all day, by some margin, from the 18-year-old. For Joni Thorburn on the floor, 9.85. And the smile is finally back on the face of the elder Thorburn sister. Sarashni Andrew, 17 years old.
Nice bit of lively music, nice 1.5 twist to start the routine. There's the double spin. And building up to the leap series. See the splits. Judges will be looking for that 180-degree split. What can she produce for this second tumble? The full twist forwards. the crowd are enjoying this one in the arena. Builds up to the final tumble. There's the handspring into the straight front, just a small hop forwards, but a very well executed tumble. There's the split full turn. A great routine. I'm sure she will be pleased with that, as will her coach and her teammates when she comes off the floor. And she's giving the wave there, definitely showing that she was happy with that.
Looked like she was having fun.
She does, and when you're having fun, I think the crowd and everyone enjoy it with her.
12.75 and that difficulty of 5.3. How high will we see that push up as we head towards
To be honest,
the
you
latter stages?
won't see it much. Maybe a couple of slightly higher fives, but nothing too much more than that. So the difficulty was definitely there with that routine. To be honest, I thought that might be slightly higher.
It's impressive stuff. Now, Liana.
There's the round-off entry mount. Unfortunately, just comes off to the side. Has to compose herself. Always hard as a gymnast when you come off on the first element. You still know you've got a lot of elements to come. There's the free cartwheel into the flip. Unfortunately, wasn't quite in line with the beam. We'll take her time and continue with the routine. Definitely got the potential, this team, showcasing the difficulty there.
They're also young.
Exactly, they've got time. 4 years' time at the Commonwealth Games, they'll be back stronger. Great side somersault. For some of these gymnasts, it'll be the first time they've ever been up on a podium. There's another somersault skill. Going down, incorporating the spin into the routine. There's the full spin. Looking to build up to the dismount. There's the full twist off the end. Interestingly, we're starting to see more of the somersaults off the end, whereas historically it was more the round off into the somersaults.
Why is that, do you think?
I think just what value can you get?
Again.
What value can you get that works for you? So yeah, they're a great routine. Unfortunately, just had those couple of falls, but the difficulty is definitely there.
Sureshni Andrews, fun-filled routine, 9.8. And it's Taisha Humphreys to round things off on floor. Great job on the beam from Taisha. Can she back it up?
Here we go for the first tumble. There's the 1.5 twist. The difficulty for the gymnast on this piece of apparatus is controlling your power. When you come out here, you've got the adrenaline, you've got to be able to control that power, especially when you're doing a tumble that's got a blind landing like the 1.5 twist. You don't see that landing until very late. Go with the spin, double spin, looks for that landing. every jump, leap, somersault that these gymnasts are doing, the judges are looking at everything. They'll take the smallest deductions if they're there, but that was a great routine. All 4 of those gymnasts have had fantastic presentation on those floor routines.
Great job on being backed up by a great job on the floor from Taisha Humphreys, 24-year-old. For Leana Kermi Iguanes of Malta, 9.10. She was hoping for more, but just couldn't get up onto the beam safely.
Just having the split warm-up, so the next group of gymnasts, while we wait for her score, will be warming up. We've got 2 gymnasts by the looks of it on floor and the 2 New Zealand gymnasts over on beam. Here we can see that 1.5, and you can just see the floor rebound, so it's part of the gymnast's job is to be able to hold those landings.
I've been able to walk on one of those floors before, and it's fun. It's bounding around on that.
It's bouncier than you expect, I think. It has changed a lot over the years.
It makes me feel like I could do a tumble.
Should we get you down and have a go?
No, I badly injure myself, but it's one of those where you're like, oh,
maybe.
If I run from corner to corner, I wonder what would happen. Absolutely no skill or experience to back that up at all. That is some exquisite face paint. A good job by the artist there.
Waiting for Team Scotland, who are going to be in the 3rd subdivision, so still a little time yet. So all of those gymnasts, I'm sure, will have had a bit of a stretch out this morning, maybe been to the gym just to do a few skills, and they'll be back getting lunch and preparing to head over for the warm-up later.
And Scotland have never won a team medal in women's gymnastics at the Commonwealth Games, so is this the moment they make some history in front of a home crowd? We've got a while until we find out. Oh, there's a big Cayman Island contingent
just to our left as well.
Enjoyed watching young Justin Spencer.
They obviously put an inquiry in about her difficulty, and that's been changed.
And you said you'd have expected that to be a little bit higher.
There we are.
Siena Santiago then for the Cayman Islands, with plenty of support in the stadium on the floor.
Here she goes with her opening tumble, using the double back. Spotted that landing, controlled that power. Now it's the time to showcase her artistry and jumps and leaps. Front somersault walk out into the 1.5 twist. Again, controlled that landing very well. Was inspired by Gabby Douglas after watching the Gabby Douglas story. And here we are, the double twist to finish this routine.
Oh yeah, what showwomanship.
You can hear the audience enjoyed that one as well, and a big smile to go with it.
A cracker from the Cayman Islands from Siena Santiago. Now over to the beam where New Zealand have arrived. Sienna Shields. 18 years old on her Commonwealth debut.
Chose to perform the 2 vaults, elected not to do bars, but she's back here on beam. Let's see what she can showcase. Nice full turn. Builds up into the somersault series, the flick into the layout. Unfortunately, just lost her footing. Has a bit of time just to compose herself and get back up. There's the 2 leaps connected, very well done. There's the front somersault, good height and power. Just took the step to control that landing. Somersault again is a difficult skill to do on the beam, blind landing. There's the free cartwheel. Unfortunately, just offline. Definitely the hardest piece to control your nerves in competition. And there's the straight front to finish the routine.
Would you say that the beam is the women's gymnastics equivalent of the pommel horse?
Yes.
Yeah.
We
Christian was saying something very similar about pommel. You don't want to start on the pommel horse. It's not, and you don't want to finish on the pommel horse either.
We quite often say that about beam and pommel, and that's a lovely score there, 11.25 for Sienna. But we usually find that a women's all-around is won and lost on the beam, and we'll see that tomorrow. Hopefully it's won on it, not lost on it.
Georgia Haramplos of Cyprus.
We've seen some great gymnastics so far from Georgia. There's the big double somersault to start. Nice high jumps showing the splits. Big tumbling pass coming. There's the handspring into the 1.5 twist. Building up a difficulty by combining different tumbling elements and the leaps and jumps that you're seeing here now. As well as showcasing her personality through artistry. Takes a bit of a breather before she's got the last part of the routine. Big final test. There's the full twist. Nice routine.
Yeah, nicely dramatic from Georgia Haramplos.
Seeing lots of smiles from the gymnasts are coming off the floor. I think it's always from a gymnastics perspective one that you can showcase your personality a bit more with.
9.3 for Sienna Shields, who was caught taking a big old gulp of water. Over to Courtney McGregor now, who's going along very nicely. Great performance on the uneven bars. And what can she do on the beam? Here she comes.
Nice big front somersault entry. Chest was up on the landing, so very little deduction. There's the jumps connected. No problems there. Big clouds of smoke. You can see the gymnast can use chalk just to ensure the grippiness builds up. Here we go with the flick into the somersault.
Can't hang on to that.
Can't quite hold it. Straight back onto the beam. Builds up for the rest of the routine. There's the free cartwheel. You can see every gymnast chooses to compose their routine in a slightly different order. Some like to get the acrobatic combination done at the beginning. Some choose to leave it till the end once their nerves are a bit more settled. It's a very controlled spin. The artistry showing through. Every 4 years the coda points changes, so the gymnasts have to adapt their routines, and here the round off into the 1.5 twist. Such a shame, because the rest of that routine was very well executed, so she'll just take that fall.
Is there a set deduction for a fall?
1 whole mark.
1 whole mark, so she will be
1 mark down.
docked 1 whole mark. Meanwhile, Georgia Haralampus 11.15 on floor. And it's Courtney McGregor bringing that rotation to an end once again. That was 3 of 4. So we're into the final rotation of this subdivision as the lights go down and we scramble to turn the page in the dark.
So interestingly, going into this, we've got Namibia heading over to vault with Cyprus and Cayman Islands. All 4 of the Namibian athletes are choosing to do 2 vaults. And then Malta and New Zealand will head over to the floor.
So Namibia must have been putting in the hours on the vault in the gym. So looking forward to seeing what they can produce here after some very entertaining floor routines. Getting their moment in the spotlight for New Zealand in the glittering silver ferns.
Here we're getting the replays of this. Courtney's
look
beat.
at that.
Spot on.
Spot on.
Nice high front somersault.
11.5 for Courtney McGregor.
With the fall, so that just shows what that score could have been. So the difficulty.
She's currently topping the qualification standings for individual all-around qualification. I wonder if that point will prove it would have been useful once all is said and done at the end of today. So that's where we are now. On to rotation 4. And over on the vault, Namibia, and then the sole athletes from Cyprus and the Cayman Islands. And there is the vault lurking in the dark, waiting.
Yeah, we seem to be being held. They're not putting the lights back up just yet. Oh, there we are.
And then over on the floor, we've got Team Malta and 2 athletes representing Team New Zealand, Courtney McGregor and Sienna Shields. Lunchtime in the stands. Someone's gone early. It's only 11:45.
Don't blame them.
It's a long day, though, isn't it? So we started off at, what, 10 o'clock this morning when the athletes first came out. We know that that final rotation that includes last Commonwealth Games top 4 comes out at 6:20.
Yeah. It's a nervous wait for these gymnasts. Once they finish their competition, they just have to sit and wait it out, and there's nothing you can do to control that. You've done your job, and it's just a case of sit and wait to see where you finish in the rankings.
Oh, you may as well enjoy it. Come out. We saw the New Zealand team yesterday in the men's competition come out and watch. They were up in the stands. Getting a taste of what's to come from Team Namibia on the vault.
Each gymnast can get their couple of 3 warm-ups because they're all going for 2. Someone's enjoying themselves there.
That's the little guy from earlier, isn't it, in the Team Scotland t-shirt. He's been corralled into a baby carrier and he doesn't want to be there. He wants to be back out dancing on the stairs.
Great to see the crowd are getting involved with the competition, supporting each and every of the gymnasts in their routines. Final piece of the puzzle for these gymnasts to end their competitions.
Little brother getting the treatment from big sister.
What a great way to inspire the younger generation, bringing them to a major event in here, seeing all the top gymnasts from around the Commonwealth. Quite often the audience can see themselves up on the big screens, but I've just had a quick peek and they're not actually showing the shots in the arena.
So waiting the green light to go is Liana Kermi Iguanas of Malta to get us underway with this final rotation. Malta have reached the floor.
Here we go, the first of the 3 gymnasts from Malta. Shown some great gymnastics on all the other apparatus. Let's see what they can produce here on floor. There's the double back somersault. Big smile from the gymnast. Full turning splits. Very quickly gets into another tumbling pass, the front pass with the full turn. Forward tumbling doesn't seem to be as popular in the women's side. Here's the double twist. Done 3 very well executed tumbles, mixed in with the spins and jumps here, you see. Full turn. Be interesting to see what the judges do with that one. There's a change leg into the side.
You said there, Beth, that forward tumbling is not as popular in women's gymnastics. Why is that?
Do you know what? I'm not entirely sure. Just you tend to see more gymnasts doing the backward tumbling, whether it's backward twisting or the double somersaults. I guess maybe there's less options going forward. I don't know. Most gymnasts just seem to opt. You have to show a forward tumbling pass, but if gymnasts are going to do 3 tumbles, they tend to do 2 backwards, 1 forwards.
It's much more comfortable that way. Sureshi Andrews.
First vault, the Tukchichenko. So uses that round off flick entry. She's tightening up those, you can see she's got panda paws on, which just protect the wrists when you're doing those round off entries. Just slightly high on so it doesn't get the block to be able to do the somersault, but uses the, you can see a difficulty value of 3.2, so the wrist supports there.
And as Beth mentioned, all 4 Namibian athletes going for 2 vaults each in a bid to reach the individual final on Monday.
You can see looks like the difficulty of the second vault has already gone up with the value of a 3. So we'll just wait for that first score before we head over. So we're just waiting for the first score to come up on this vault, and then she'll be able to get her second vault underway. Here it is, 11.05 for that first vault. So I'm just waiting for this second vault. Uses the different entry, the Sukahara, but with the tuck somersault off.
And that is job done for Shareshni Andrew, her Commonwealth Games debut. Up and running. Will she make it to any of the individual finals? We will have to wait and see. Scores also for Liana Kermi Iguanes on the floor, and now over to her countrywoman Philippa Busitil. Sensational on the beam. Let's see what she can do on the floor.
We've seen some very well executed gymnastics from this gymnast. There's the double spin. So has starting to build the difficulty already. First tumble, there's the double tuck. Nice landing. Really high tumble there. Gives her the time to look for that landing. The 1.5 into the straight front. So uses the forward pass in that combination. So she's got the special requirements in. There's the leaps and jumps. Constantly adding, it's the top 8 skills for each of the routines that the judges will take into consideration. So there's a double twist, she had the double tuck, she had the 1.5 twist, so she's built the difficulty up and matched it with the execution and the performance element
Yeah, stepping up again for Malta, Philippa Busuttil. She is an athlete with some serious quality, just 18 years old. For Sureshni Andrew, finishing off with a score of 11.225. Oh, and we nearly missed Taisha Humphreys' first attempt on the vault.
So she's also going to be going for the 2 vaults. So we're going to see a replay. There's the Sukahara entry with the pike somersault off, just slightly over-rotated, so had to take a couple of steps to compensate for it, but you can see she is straight down the line. There's the pike somersault, just takes those couple of steps back, but overall a very well executed vault. Doesn't have the highest difficulty that we're going to see today, but has the execution, a 3.4 difficulty.
And now the wait for scores. It's always a slightly awkward moment, isn't it? Because the athlete waiting to perform again just wants to get the job done, but also has to watch their own face on the big screen. Yes. Wait for the scores. So we're going to put some different faces on the big screen. How about that one? That's a cute face, isn't it? Having a lovely time. There's 2 sisters out for a day out at the gymnastics.
The judges have to look at all elements of the vault, so the entry into the vault, the block off, the somersault, and then also obviously the landing and what deductions need to be taken.
Philippa Busuttil's score of 11.15 on the floor. And that puts her up at the top of the all-around qualification standings, unsurprisingly, after a sensational performance on the beam as well. Really strong on vault and backing it up on the floor too. Over to Sophie St John, youngest member of the Maltese team at 15.
Beautiful strata jump with the full turn. Here we go with the tumbling. There's the double somersault. Unfortunately, just over rotates. Couldn't quite control that landing. Nice split shown in those leaps. Judges will look to see if the leg is held the whole way through that spin. Here's the front somersault walk out into the double twist, combining the forwards and the backwards tumbling in one. Enjoyable floor routines in this round to watch, very well presented. Building up to the final pass, 2.5, just didn't quite have enough rotation, but has some excellent difficulty. We hope she's okay.
She had a grimace on her face when she came down off the floor, and she's walking rather gingerly back towards her coach, so hoping that Sophie St John is okay there. On the vault, Taisha Humphreys 11.45, so that means she's now ready to go for her second attempt.
The half on with the half turn off.
That was done with minimal fuss.
Again, won't necessarily be the highest difficulty of vaults that we're going to see today, but still doing 2 vaults. I think the difficulty came up as 2.4. There we can see.
And the combined score is 11.1, was that? Annleen Thorburn of Namibia. First vault for the youngest Thorburn sister.
Using the Sukahara with the pipe somersault. Just the step on landing, but everything else very well executed. We'll get to see on the replay. Here we go. Just slightly off to the side. Did that foot go out? Well, we'll see when the
Fractionally,
deduction.
I think.
Yeah, I think her toe may have just stepped out. They have judges at the end that are specifically looking.
.7 on the floor with those 2 falls for Sophie St John, and she looks like she's managed to pick herself up and is looking much more cheerful, which is just what you want to see. Second vault then for Annleen Thorburn. 3.4 on the difficulty rating you can see on the sign behind her.
Just taking a bit of time for each of the scores to come through. The judges got to make sure they're taking everything into consideration.
.55 for vault number 1.
So a second difficulty. It looks like she's nominated a 3.2 difficulty. And she's got the Yuchenko surrounding, so I think we're going to be using the round off flick entry. There's the round off flick into the pike somersault and cleanly through it. Well done.
2 neat vaults for Namibia's Annleen Thorburn, and a nice hug from mum as well as she signs off for her day's work.
There we can see directly down the middle, so there'll be no execution scores for the deductions for the alignment. Just the judges will be looking at the height, with the legs together in the air, with the legs fully straight, toes pointed. All of that the judges are having to do in a fraction of a second. They don't get to see any of these replays. They just mark what they see in the moment.
And how costly is a step back?
0.1.
Fractionally.
Yeah. And if you take a couple of steps, it all starts to add up. Then the stepping out the lines. So there's a lot of deductions that can be taken.
.475 for Annleen on vault. Let's just have a quick look at where that puts her in the shakedown. She's the highest ranked of the Namibian athletes so far, but in 4th at the moment, and 8 athletes going through to the individual finals. There's big sister Joni.
There's the pike. Suk unfortunately just has a bit too much power and over-rotates.
She really attacked that one, didn't she?
She did. It's all about being able to control the power. Big fast run up leading into it. There's the half turn on, and then the pike somersault, and just unfortunately couldn't control the landing. Get it from all angles. has the 3.4 difficulty.
Judges hard at work in their little boxes. And Joni Thorburn awaiting her second vault at the end of the runway.
We're just waiting for this vault, and then it'll be up to the next group of gymnasts. So I can see them eagerly waiting to get up and warm up.
Crowd being encouraged to give a big round of applause for Namibia, because this is their last gymnast in action today, and Team Namibia will be making an exit after this. So 10.5 for vault number one. Not quite sure why that took so long to reach us. Now just a few seconds left for Namibia. One more vault for Joni Thorburn.
Here, using the Yurchenko entry into the pipes of assault, and sees the landing for that one, and you can see the relief.
A bright finish for Namibia with a stuck landing and a big hug from Mum. So Namibia done and dusted, and we're into the second half of these athletes coming on to the apparatus to go through their warm-up whilst we wait for the scores for Joni.
Getting lots of different angles of this Yurchenko vault. The round off entry into the flick was slightly off to the side, but managed to pull it back in line, but keeps well within the tram line, so no deduction for stepping out. Very pleased with that vault. Getting the team photo.
Obligatory. And if you look at the team standings, Namibia are down at the bottom of the shop. But Commonwealth debuts for all of those athletes, and I'm sure we'll see them back at international events over the next few years in the run-up to the next Olympics and the next Commonwealth Games. Are we still waiting for Joni Thorburn's score?
We are. So vault won't be able to get started until that second score comes in. Looks like it may just have landed.
It's dropped. 10.82 the combined score for Joni Thorburn, and now we can get stuck into some more floor action with Courtney McGregor of New Zealand.
Starts the routine off well with the double spin with the leg up. Ready to showcase the powerful tumbling. there, the double pike somersault, just a small step back, but a great start to this routine. Has to keep the control throughout. The 1.5 twist into the punch front somersault. Gives her the time to recover having done 2 big tumbles. Building up to the final tumble pass. A handspring into the full twisting front.
Imagine having the time to train a routine like that, to a standard like that, as well as working as a junior doctor, 40 plus hours on the wards in the hospital back home in New Zealand. It's an incredible investment.
It is, and especially having taken 5 years out of the sport as well. So, but great to see her back out there and performing very well today.
Georgia Haralampus of Cyprus ready to go, glittering under the lights on the vault.
Using the Sukahara in the straight position. Not sure whether that's a relief or she wasn't expecting it to be like that.
That is the only vault that we're going to see from Georgia.
She's just using the vault score towards her all-around score. Doesn't want to contest for the vault final.
And she currently sits second from bottom in the all-around qualification, just above Sienna Santiago of the Cayman Islands.
She's just needs a score to go in, and I'm sure that'll shoot her straight up the rankings.
Better than expected, do we think?
I think so, yeah.
Score for Courtney McGregor, 11.15 on the floor. Courtney McGregor currently leading the all-around qualification.
The squat spin to start the routine off, and a lovely high split jump with the full turn, building up to the tumbling passes. There's the 2.5 twist, very well executed, nice high, nice height. Straight back down the diagonal. There's the 1.5 into the 1.5. A very difficult tumbling pass. You've got to get the timing just right on the connection to build up that difficulty. Now here we go for the double tuck. Another big tumble. So he's had 3 big tumbling passes.
Yeah, lovely way to sign off for Sienna Shields, enjoying a breakthrough season this year, her first full international year, competing World Cups in Egypt and Croatia for the New Zealander, plus the Oceania Championships, and now a first Commonwealth Games as well. The score for Georgia Haralampus, 11.45. Siena Santiago finishing off on the vault.
Here we go, Paichichenko just slightly over-rotated it, but managed to control it and keep it on her feet. So a great competition with some potential for the future.
Yeah, some real highlights from this 16-year-old from the Cayman Islands.
There's
just as we enjoyed young Justin Spencer in the men's yesterday. He won himself some fans, that's for sure, and I'm sure that Siena will have done just the same.
Here we go. Paichichenko banged down the centre line. There we are.
So it's time for the photographs of celebrations and the camaraderie of an international gymnastics meet as we await the final score of this first subdivision. Well, the final two scores, because Sienna Shields awaiting hers, 11.25 on the floor, and for Siena Santiago, 11.25 as well. So matching scores for the two Sienas on the floor and on the vaults. But that is the end of Subdivision 1. We have 3 more to come. Long day of gymnastics ahead, and team standings. Malta and Namibia, the only two really that count. New Zealand didn't have 3 athletes entering scores during that subdivision, so they will remain bottom of the standings. But a little look at where we stand with all-around qualification and the various individual apparatus. Women's vault led by Courtney McGregor, as is the all-around. Quality of New Zealand rising to the top there. And what a story. She is the 27-year-old returning to gymnastics after 5 years away. Ruptured her Achilles in 2020. She retired because the rehab was going to be so difficult, Courtney McGregor. And she wanted to move into medicine, which she did. She's a 5th-year medical student on hospital placement in Tauranga. Working on the wards and fitting in her training around that. There she is, qualifying in 3rd spot behind the 2 Maltese athletes on the balance beam. Sensational stuff from Philippa Versatil there. Versatil, the more experienced of the young Maltese team at 18 years old, and she really brought some fantastic gymnastics to this first subdivision, qualifying in 5th for the women's floor at the moment, but the way is led there by Siena Santiago. Of the Cayman Islands. So a young 16-year-old who finished on the vault, posting the best score of the morning so far on the floor. And that is where we're at, with a quarter of this morning's action, or today's action, complete. And chewing it all over is Beth Tweddle with Laura Robson.
Thanks, Kat. And yeah, perfect time to join us, because Philippa, you had a great day out there. How happy were you with how things went?
Pretty happy overall. I really enjoyed the experience. It was a really nice environment, and yes.
And your beam routine was really, really nice to watch. You must have felt in the moment that it was very clean.
Yes. I tried to stay calm and focus and think that as environment training. And yes, I enjoyed showing like what I do every day in the gym.
Do you watch it back? We're seeing pictures of it now. Would you watch it back this afternoon and fine-tune it even more?
Yes, definitely. Also because coming up soon I have the Europeans, and so I need to finalize a few points, hopefully to do better over there.
I know Beth was really impressed. Beth was in commentary for it. What did you feel about Philippa's performance today?
Yeah, I mean, firstly, fantastic. What a brilliant performance today. I think I always wonder what was the biggest challenge out there, because sometimes it's always great when it goes well, but for you, what was the biggest challenge? To control my nose, I think, and yes, I think that the most, and stay positive, and to not let like the fallen bars to affect the rest of my competition, and yes, to enjoy the moment as well.
Well done.
What can you take from today, obviously leading into the European Championships? We're only a couple of weeks away now. To keep on working the way I am and to stay positive during training, because the work is showing slowly.
Well done, yeah, it's definitely showing. We'll let you go and get warm again. You did well in the interview as well. She was a little bit worried about that, asked for the interview to be short, but yeah, very impressed with how things went today. There was a couple of other standouts. We're going to also chat to, you're free to leave, yeah, you don't need to. I'm happy if you stay, obviously, but yeah, we don't want to keep them here too long, but we'll also be having a catch up with Courtney McGregor, who was the other standout, and it was the top two leading the all-round after that first subdivision. It was important today to just not make mistakes, because there was a couple of falls, especially on the beam, and that can really affect the mentality of the other athletes.
Yeah, we always say beam makes or breaks it, and today we did see a few of the nerves get the better of them, and it can be quite difficult to then get back up and compose yourself and be able to continue with the routine. But there was some very impressive performances out there. The difficulty was there. Sometimes the execution didn't quite match it, but ultimately there was a lot of potential future athletes that 4 years' time at the next Commonwealth Games, it was a very young field. They'll come back through in 4 years' time, so I'm excited to see how they'll grow.
How difficult is it to balance that factor of trying to pick up a good score, trying to make a difficult routine, but also the execution of it? And you were saying to me earlier before we came on air that maybe this is the perfect competition to do that.
Yeah, I mean, it's always a fine balance. Every gymnast has that conversation with their coach, difficulty versus execution. And you get the standouts. So Simone Biles that manages to literally push the boundaries, push the difficulty, but still keep the execution. But it also has that risk element with it. I think we've got a gymnast that we can ask exactly that too. She is very experienced in the world of gymnastics. Well done today, amazing performance. I really enjoyed watching it. So I guess, what was the stand-up moment for you?
I'm pretty happy with my vaults. Yeah, I sort of sent a couple of big vaults and hoping that, fingers crossed, I can potentially have a chance to do that again in the vault final. It was nice to get that out of the way with the first apparatus and then just kind of enjoy the rest of the competition. Yeah, because that was sort of my main goal today.
I'm sure the all-round final was on your mind as well, and you put yourself in a great position for that. You know, do you factor in the other athletes coming today, or are you like, I've done my job, I'm just going to relax for the rest of the day?
It's a tricky one. I think the younger girls are going to stay and watch a couple of subdivisions, but I think I'll probably just go back and just like lie in my bed, might watch it on TV, and yeah, sort of act like I might be in that final tomorrow, just so I'm ready if that opportunity arises. But yeah, I'll definitely be back if I'm not competing in it to watch the all-around final tomorrow. That'd be amazing.
And you've had a retirement, you've come back 5 years later. How did it feel competing in an atmosphere like this again?
Yeah, it's just so much more fun this time around. I think when you're younger, like, you'll understand it's like quite serious, and gymnastics is kind of your whole life. But I sort of took a break from it, and yeah, I'm in my final year of med school, so I'm like getting close.
I don't know how you're
to being a
managing
doctor. Yeah, so I see quite like heavy stuff like at my day job, and so when I come to gym, it's just kind of like an outlet for me, and I'm real grateful that I'm in the position to be able to do it. So it was cool to get out there today and just enjoy it, and the crowd was so amazing. They were really polite, like clapping nicely. I was like screaming for everyone, but yeah, it was really cool, and lots of New Zealand flags, which is awesome.
It totally blew my mind when I heard that you're studying, that you're working. I mean, talk me through your day-to-day routine when you're at home, because how do you fit everything in?
It's a good question. Gymnastics, like typically you train kind of in the evening, so that works for me. So I'll like maybe be at the hospital from 7 a.m. until like around 4 or 4:30, and then I'll go to gym from like 5 till 8:30 p.m. And then I'll just rinse and repeat, and I'll have Sunday off. Yeah.
Not a lot.
You
then.
deserve
Not a
Sunday
lot.
off.
So actually, while you're out here, it's chill time because
Well,
you've only
yeah.
got gymnastics.
It's quite strange being like, yeah, all I kind of have to do is gym. But I'm also doing like a research project at the moment, hoping to get something published in like an orthopedic journal. So I'm kind of working on that on the side while here.
Oh my goodness, we bow down to you. You are doing the most in the best possible way. Congratulations on your performance today. Hope to see you back tomorrow.
Fingers crossed. We'll keep a close eye.
Thank you guys.
Oh, brilliant. I mean, you're putting the rest of us to shame with that sort of schedule. How tough is it? I know that, you know, especially in the UK, athletes are very lucky with the support that they get from the National Lottery, from the Federation. But if you're balancing all of those different things, but trying to commit as much time as possible to your gymnastics, how tough is it to even work on new tricks, to work on new routines?
Yeah, I mean, that's tough to be doing 7 till 4:30 in a hospital, and like she said, seeing some pretty heavy things, and then she almost uses gymnastics as her outlet to go and switch off from the day job, and she clearly loves the sport. You can see the passion coming through, you can see it on her routines as well. But obviously here in the UK we are very lucky with the support. The National Lottery, most of our, well, all of our top athletes, that's their full-time role, is just to perform for Great Britain or the home nations. So yeah, you can see a different side of it when someone's doing a full-time job alongside it.
That's what we love about the Commonwealth Games, though. There's so many different stories, so many different ways of getting to this kind of competition, but we've still got so much more gymnastics to come today. Just to remind you of the order of play. So we are through Subdivision 1, 3 remaining. Coming up very shortly is Subdivision 2 in just a few minutes' time. And then, speaking of home nations, Wales and England in Subdivision 3 and 4. And I actually caught up with Abby Martin, who's competing for England, yesterday. Abby, thank you for taking the time to chat, because I know you're here to watch the guys tonight, showing your support for Team England. But what do you feel like your chances are ahead of a big week?
I feel like just going out there and having fun is the main thing, but I think we have a really strong team, and I think we can go out there and aim for a team medal.
You've obviously got a bit of experience on your side already, having competed at the Olympics. Now that you've got that under your belt, do you feel like you're kind of the veteran in this situation? Are you feeling like, no, it's still a fresh, new experience for you?
I feel like in somewhat way, like, yeah, but then also no. Like, I feel like Commonwealth Games is still new to me. It's actually new to all of us in the team. So I feel like every experience is a new experience.
And how fun is it to just get the Team England kit on, celebrate with the team, because you do get on so well, everyone supports each other, and just try and enjoy the experience of competing as one?
Yeah, it does feel different because obviously we're used to having GB kit on, but to put the England kit on and wear the lion, it feels so special.
And for your own competition, you know, obviously you're going to be trying to qualify for the individual finals in the team competition tomorrow. So what are your sort of expectations ahead of that? What should we be looking out for you from your own competition?
I feel like I need to see how tomorrow goes first, obviously. I know I've worked hard on all 4 pieces. My best pieces would obviously be vault and floor, but I'm just not putting any pressure on myself. I just want to go out there and have a great time.
And who would you say are your main rivals this week as well? I mean, there's plenty to choose from, but are there any particular names that stand out?
Like you said, there is a lot. I would probably say my main one is probably Ruby Evans from Wales. I think, obviously, we train together as part of GB, so I feel like we always have that little bit of competitiveness between each other, but that also really helps us. So I think she'd probably be my main one.
Good luck this week. I hope it goes well.
Thank you.